If you are ready to let go of what's not serving you and embrace a better way of selling this year, then stay tuned because in this episode, I share my selling ins and outs for 2025. Welcome to the Soulful Sales Show, where we talk about believing in the value of your offers, getting them in front of your right people, and selling more of what you do in your unique way. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Soulful Sales Show. And Happy New Year! It is the first episode of 2025. Now, I will be real with you, often at this time of the year, I am not ready to talk about goals, I'm not ready to talk about plans, but for some reason this year, I am so ready. So I thought it would be fun to do a couple of episodes based on some of the themes and ideas and feelings I'm having about selling and business in general, as part of my reflective and goal setting process. And by the way, if you are listening to this at the original time of release, you still have time to join in with my 2025 planning session. I'm doing it for all of my members. You can join the Soulful Growth Club at ruthpoundwhite.com/SGC. It's only $7. You'll get access to the planning session, plus all of the other goodies in the membership to help you put yourself out there, grow your audience, get more visible as your gloriously imperfect self. So that is ruthpoundwhite.com/SGC. Okay, so I'm going to kick things off for 2025 by sharing my selling ins and outs for the year. And I will say that what I'm about to share in this episode is not so much about practical strategies specifically. It's more about beliefs and ways of thinking that will inform the practical strategies. I do have another episode scheduled, which will come out a bit later, where I will share more about the specific sales strategies that I am going to focus on or let go of in 2025. But for now, it's more about my state of mind and your state of mind. Okay, so let's start with the outs. What is out in 2025? So this first one, I would probably share this every year, but it is so important that it is worth sharing again. What is out is being afraid to sell every day. And I know that when I talk about selling every day, it always brings up feelings. I have got several other episodes where I talk about selling every day, including lessons from selling every day for a month. And I am doing a Sell Every Day month challenge again in my Soulful Sales Society membership in February. Basically, I want us all to have the confidence that our right people need us to show up and sell what it is that we do, to show up and sell the ways that we can help people with things, and also to trust in ourselves that we are not some slimy, sleazy marketers, that when we show up and sell, even if we do it every single day, even if we do it multiple times a day, we are not just sharing useless content or manipulative content. We are sharing helpful stuff. You can sell in so many different ways. Some of the ways that we sell are more direct and literally just sharing about the offer. But some of the ways we sell are just showing up and being an example of what it is that we do, or sharing examples of other people doing things, inspiring people, sharing ideas, sharing advice, So there are so many ways to sell. We really don't want to be afraid to sell every day in 2025. Let us all make more of a difference by making it super clear this year what we have available for people to buy that can help them. My next out for 2025 is unintentional marketing. What I mean by that is showing up half-heartedly in your marketing, not knowing exactly why you're showing up on a certain platform, being inconsistent. Now, I really actually don't like to say that in some ways because it is okay to be inconsistent. And I've talked about this in the past, but I definitely believe in persistency over consistency. I am not consistent, but I am persistent. And what that means is I have a level of trust in myself that even if I have breaks, even if I have periods of time where I can't or I don't want to show up for whatever reason, I do trust myself to come back and show up again. So it's not about being rigid with a schedule. It's about not knowing why you're doing something. And the reason I share this as an out for 2025 is basically I spent all of 2024 being unintentional about the way I was showing up on Instagram. And I have made the decision, 99% sure I've made the decision that I'm just not going to bother showing up there anymore because I don't have a solid intentional reason for having to show up there anymore. My email list, yes, absolutely. I know how that impacts my business and I know how it impacts me and I know what I'm doing there. Instagram, unintentional, flaky, taking up space in my brain, that is out for 2025. It might not be Instagram for you, but just really reflecting on where are you showing up intentionally? Where are you kind of showing up and going through the motions and doing it half-heartedly? Okay, so my third out for 2025 is thinking that you have to do it all yourself. And the reason I include this is because I know I attract a lot of people who are like me. And people like me are naturally independent and naturally wanting to just get on with things. And, you know, we kind of know what we're doing, so we may as well just do it ourselves, right? But what I learned big time in 2024 was that it was so worth investing in more support to run my summit. Now, obviously, my business in general as well, but the summit is really what made it obvious for me. Being more supported to run my summit didn't actually help me make loads more money with the summit. I made a very similar amount of money and, you know, got a similar amount of signups between the summit in 2024 and the summit in 2023, but it made the world of difference to how I felt about running it. It was so much easier to the point at which I'm now doing another summit. I'm adding an extra summit into 2025. So it just really taught me the importance of support, which I have talked about loads already with you. And I have learned this lesson before, but I need to learn it again. So that is also out for 2025, thinking you have to do it all yourself. And my final out for 2025 is not giving people a real opportunity to connect with you. So I am all for laid back launching. I am all for selling by email and scheduling emails and not having to show up on social media and not having to go live and all of that stuff. I'm all for that, but I don't think that we should rely on that 100% of the time. Like maybe 90% of the time is fine, but at least schedule something in throughout the year where people can truly connect with you. So a free event, a summit, a live masterclass, a challenge, something like that. Really, really important. And the reason I have this on my list as an out is because I was really not doing that stuff myself. And you can, of course, really connect with your people through content, through emails, through written stuff, but nothing beats a live event. And especially in the age of AI, people are gonna want more than something that AI can come out with. They want you, they want personal, they want real lived experience. They want someone who gets them. And a live event or challenge or masterclass or something like that, even just hearing your voice in an audio recording, that really raises the bar and sets you up for that deeper level of connection. So yeah, that is my final out, is not giving people a real opportunity to connect with you on a personal level. So let's talk about the ins. What is in 2025? And again, this is a lesson I have talked about many, many times. I have shared many times, but I need to learn it again and again myself. Being honest, being yourself, and not being afraid to be a bit messy. Now, spoiler alert, my new summit for 2025 is called The Mess of Success, and we are going to be talking all about the behind the scenes mess as part of this summit. And I just want to be real with you right now. I'm recording this the day before it's due to go live, which was not on my plan. I meant to do it a lot earlier, but actually it's worked out well because I had a different idea for what I was going to do. I have major brain fog right now, and I was really debating whether I should record when I have major brain fog, because it definitely affects my speech and how I can form my thoughts, and sometimes I can't connect the dots in my brain and everything feels slow. But I decided to do it anyway because I trust that, all I'm talking about in this episode is my selling ins and outs for 2025. It's nothing like super technical, it's nothing complicated, it's just how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. So I decided to do it the messy way. And that is so in for 2025. For me, that is a massive, massive in. Just doing it the messy way, doing it imperfectly, I had a whole episode about this actually a few months ago where I said about like why I had disappeared from the podcast for it and how I was trying to do it too perfectly. And I really went back to basics of just, hitting record, not recording video anymore for my podcast. And it has made it so much easier. Embracing the way I work. The second in for 2025 is allowing yourself to dream bigger no matter what is happening. The reason I share this is because I feel like 2024 was the year my dreams shriveled up into non-existence. And that is because it was a hard year. Like, I am not going to lie. I'm not going to go into all the ins and outs of why it was a hard year, but mental health, all that stuff, it was very hard. And I went into protection mode, especially for the first half of 2024. And I just stopped dreaming. I stopped allowing myself to have big goals because I was too tired. I didn't want to, push myself too far. And while it's helpful to acknowledge that I don't want to push myself, and there are times when it's not as helpful to stretch as much, there is no reason why I still couldn't dream, right? And what has really struck me doing my, end of year, like tallying up the numbers and stuff like this, I actually made more money in 2024 than 2023. If you had asked me at any point of the year how my income compared, I would have said I've made less money. It was just really interesting. And it just really got me questioning, like, imagine if I did still allow myself to dream. Like, I made more money in 2024 than 2023, despite thinking the entire year that I was making less. I mean, clearly I was not consulting the facts to challenge my belief, which is literally what I do as a coach to help other people with, was not doing that for myself. And just showing what is possible, even though I was having a hard year, even though I was in self-protection mode. What could have been possible if I just allowed myself to dream anyway, with no pressure, with no long to-do list of all the things I have to do because of the dream, just like allowing myself to dream for fun. And, something I always try and remind myself of is that dreaming is free. Like there is literally nothing at stake when you dream. It's really just the feeling around it about like, will this happen? What do I have to do to make it happen? If we can detach from that and just allow ourselves to play and have fun with it, we have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Okay, so my third in for 2025 is not reinventing the wheel. This is part 1 of 2. Not reinventing the wheel, allowing it to be easy, relaunching things that you've already launched before. I have been doing this for 2 years now. It works. Trust me. I think in 2023, I relaunched one of my courses 5 or 6 times. It worked every single time. I mean, obviously the results will vary and some launches are better than others, but I have gained so much in my business from making a conscious decision not to reinvent the wheel, allowing myself to launch the laid back way. And I've got it all in my laid back launching course. If you want the ins and outs of how I do it, I have gained so much in my life and business. So it's definitely a theme and still in for 2025. That said, and this is part 2 of this point, it's also really important not to get stagnant and stuck and repeating the same thing, expecting different results. So yes, not reinventing the wheel is totally still in 2025, but it's also really important to be conscious and aware of where you are half-heartedly repeating the same thing and expecting different results. You still need to experiment a bit. There are still different ways to experiment with growing your audience, getting in front of more people, and that kind of thing as well. So that's my kind of part 2 to that. And number 4, the final in for 2025 is tracking your sales daily and celebrating even the smallest ones. This was something I really fell out of the habit of doing in 2024. And I have learned the lesson time and time again. There seems to be a theme with a lot of these, is like me relearning things I already know, but isn't that the way with all of us? I've learned the lesson time and time again that when I am on top of the numbers, when I'm tracking my sales, when I'm celebrating even the small ones, that success compounds. It shows me what is working and motivates me to do more of it. and stops me getting stuck in the story. Like I shared, like I thought I was earning less money in 2024 and it turns out I wasn't. Tracking your daily sales. Now, obviously, yeah, ideally you will track them literally every day, but I know that that's not a habit that's easy to stick to for a lot of us, especially if you're neurodivergent. But tracking it on a regular basis and knowing the facts and celebrating even the smallest ones, because everything adds up. If you have a big goal to make a lot of sales in 2025, that goal is going to happen one sale at a time. And that includes a sale of $7, of $700, of $7,000. They are all part of the goal. Celebrating even the small ones really adds up. And this really became clear to me in the last quarter of 2024. I did quite a few low ticket offers. I did a $1 trial of my membership. So many of those people have stayed on working with me. So many of those people have gone on to work with me in other ways. It is so worth celebrating even the smallest sales. And there are also people who didn't pay for anything with me. They may have just done my free summit or something like that and have recommended people to me, become cheerleaders of my business. It all adds up. So those are my selling ins and outs for 2025. Just to recap, the outs are being afraid to sell every day, being unintentional about your marketing and not knowing why you're showing up in a certain way, thinking you have to do it all yourself, and not giving people a real personal way to connect with you. What's in 25 is honesty, being yourself, allowing yourself to work around and embrace your mess, allowing yourself to dream no matter what is happening, not reinventing the wheel, but also being really aware of not getting stagnant and stuck and repeating the same thing and expecting different results, and tracking your daily sales and celebrating even the smallest ones. So I don't know about you, but I'm excited about 2025. I know 2024 was a mixed bag. It definitely was for me. I'm actually shocked that it ended in such a strong way, and I am really looking forward to continuing that energy and improving on the energy of 2024 in 2025. That was a really long-winded sentence. Anyway, I will be back next week to share the strategy side of what I'm planning to do more of and less of to sell my offers in 2025. I'll be back next week with that episode, so stay tuned. And yeah, I can't wait to see what this year has in store for all of us. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Soulful Sales. If you have a moment to rate and review, know that it really does make a difference. And if you'd like to carry on the conversation, then you can connect with me on Instagram at Ruth Poundwhite, sign up to my newsletter at ruthpoundwhite.com/newsletter, or my personal favorite, join me inside the low ticket membership at ruthpoundwhite.com/membership. And keep doing what you're doing, because your work really does matter.